Guys, let me tell you something about this stream. It doesn't ask anyone's permission to flow. It just flows because God put it here, and that's what it does. Man may dam it up, but that right there is what it's going to do, because that's what it is. It's a stream. So I'm still not 100%, but I needed to come up here. I needed to come up here to spend some time alone with God, and I'm not going to worry about camera angles or how I look or anything like that. I'm just going to talk today. I'm sure you guys have noticed that there is a huge push right now to stifle people's freedom. Guys, I'm going to tell you, ever since I was... I'm gonna pull over here for just a second. This may be the place I stop, I don't know. There, I'll get that camera up out of my face. Close this up for a second. I don't know how you guys feel about destiny and what God has for us and those kinds of things. I don't really bother to ask other people too much about all that stuff, because I learned in the past that if you invite too much opinion, it can really water down. You can see the stream. It can really water down what you believe. It can really muddy up what you believe. So, ever since I was 9 years old, I used to lay out on a blanket, probably because I was anemic then, but I used to lay out on a blanket in the sunlight, and I would think these great thoughts. I mean, I say great thoughts because I've never heard of anybody thinking thoughts like this, and for a 9-year-old, I think it's a pretty big thought to wonder where... I wondered where I was before I came here, and my mind would just shuffle back through the very limited amount of memories at that point that I had, and it was like it's like, where was I before I got here? Where was I before I got here? Where was I before I got here? It was an endless loop, because God was trying to show me something. I used to think those thoughts, and I also used to think thoughts about the government, and I don't even know why. There is no reason for it as far as watching political things or anything like that, because I was a kid. See what this sign says. Damaged road ahead. Vehicles larger than pickups prohibited. Well, why would you be bringing a vehicle larger than that up here anyway? So, I used to lay there and think about why someone else has governance, or why someone else is in charge of someone else, right? I understood parenting. I mean, that's just a given, you know, you got to be raised and all that, but I don't know what they were talking about there, but probably my tag. Bigfoot doesn't believe in you either. Yeah, I stand behind that. Anyway, I used to think these big thoughts. And throughout the course of my lifetime, I didn't find anyone else who thought like that. I didn't hear people talk about stuff like that until adulthood, really. I don't want to make this video too long with me talking, philosophizing, whatever. I'm not trying to do that. Let me take a breather just a minute. Getting all kinds of angles here, because just why not, right? And this is a shaky one, so. But I was thinking these thoughts as a kid, like a what do they call that? Pre-adolescence. I was just a kid. Why would I even be thinking about that? Well, the reason why I think I was thinking about that is because I think that God was putting it in my head. Now, I do understand that some of you may not share the beliefs that I do. And even though some of you may share the beliefs that I do, our beliefs are even different. Even some of my closest friends, our beliefs are different. And that's okay. I think that's part of being a church, you know. Iron sharpens iron, right? That's what Eddie always used to say to me. Iron sharpens iron. Like, if we have a dispute over something in Scripture, the best thing to do is to work through that. Because in doing that, we learn from one another, and we should work through it peaceably, peacefully. So, it's my personal view that if you are on this earth today, right now, you're meant to be here for this time. And everyone has a part to play. Even people that, I'm talking about believers and unbelievers alike. So, if it wasn't for Pharaoh, if it wasn't for his heart being hard, the Lord hardened his heart, it says in the Scripture. If it wasn't for that, then God's glory wouldn't have been shown. So even in the evil of evil, even in the evil of leaders, there is a purpose for that. What am I trying to get to here? Well, first of all, I want to say that it's up to each individual to decide where you're going to stand on this battle, but you will be in a battle. This is a battle. There's no doubt about that. This is a battle. We have, first of all, a couple of prophets actually prophesied that toward the end of February there would be things would take a turn for the worse, and they would stay that way, and that rang true with me. Even though I didn't even know these people. You don't have to know them to know the Holy Spirit is talking through them. So, we all know by looking at the footage of what happened in Canada that there's some serious infiltration into the governments. Government is a good thing. Government is a very good thing. It keeps peace between the people. It keeps laws. We need law. We need order. That's a godly thing. That's a good thing. But when it's the government breaking the law, when it's the government that is breaking the laws that govern your rights and that protect your rights and your freedom as a person, then those governments or those people, they're rogue. And I think a lot of you know for a fact that the people that have taken over these governments are rogue. They're rogue. They are. They're bought and paid for by other governments who are seeking to take advantage of our nations for their own purposes. So, they're rogue. So that leaves you with a few choices. I mean, we can as long as things are peaceful and they're moving along and nobody's being affected and all of that, as long as you turn the water up on that frog that's in that pot, as long as you turn it up slowly, the frog's not going to jump out of the pot. So as soon as you turn that heat up to the point where the frog feels it, it's going to jump out. Well, up in Canada, they turned the heat up through those mandates to the point where people, truckers, who happen to be a stubborn lot anyway, they decided to jump out. Come on down through here, you're fine. Okay, I'll go. So they planned this peaceful protest, right? But I'm trying to figure out. The son of Castro decided that he was just not going to put up with that. I mean, did you see his face in some of his, when he's walking away? It's not when he's looking straight at the camera. When he's walking away, he's like, how dare they come against my leadership and my rulership? Man, if you didn't see that, you weren't paying attention. And the same thing is going on here in the United States. And the same thing is going on in Australia, but it's much more blatant. It started, actually really started there. Everybody was kind of shocked. They were like, what's going on in Australia? And I think their leaders are called prime ministers down there as well. Funny how these nations that all this started with, funny how they're governed by certain people. So, and then, Biden, let me tell you guys something. So, I am staging a protest of my own. I absolutely refuse, for a couple of decades now, I have refused to capitalize the name of the enemy. I will not capitalize his name. He doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that respect. Down there, it's way down there. So I'm not capitalizing their names either. I didn't capitalize Obama's name the entire time he was in office. Why? He didn't deserve it. He's a servant of the enemy, and so are these other people. And that's, wow, that's really something to say there. Yes, it is, and I stand behind it. I absolutely do. A lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. Well, that's not a very good shot right there with this tree, but that's part of life right there. I feel like that mangled up tree right now. So, I'm just shooting from the hip here, guys. Because I feel like I need to get out and make a video. Not out of an obligation, but I just feel like I need to. And I needed to come up here and spend some time with God. So, hopefully it makes some sense. I'm not going to talk about my health right now because I want to talk about this thing, right? So, I watched the footage of these Canadians getting abused, bullied. And I was just sitting there thinking, you know, you guys don't know this, but my first husband, if you could call it that, the only reason I married him was because I was pregnant, and I was 16. Was that 16? What got? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, well, anyway, it's hard for me to remember. I think I was 17 when I had him, but I was 16 when I found out that I was pregnant, and my mother wanted me to, there was this thing called the Florence Crittington Foundation or something in Knoxville. They talked about it on the news. Like, they need to be talking about stuff like this on the friggin' news, okay? Anyway, she wanted me to give up the baby for adoption. And we told his parents wanted us to do this new thing called abortion, and they were going to pay for it. Okay, I'm telling you all this for a reason. So, anyway, I lived with them for a little bit, and his stepdad was an MP. He was a nice guy. I always liked him. And my first husband, he wanted to be like him. You know, that was his stepdad. That's who raised him. But my first husband had this problem. Like, I think he was 3 or 4 years older than me. He had this problem, which was when he was not getting the result out of me that he wanted, he would resort to hitting me. Like, he hit me with a belt buckle, you know, the metal part of this. He hit me with one of those somewhere in this area. I don't know. I have a scar from it. Anyway, I'm not getting into all that. You know, he smacked me down, stuff like that. So that was his answer if I didn't do what he wanted me to do. And this guy wanted to be, he didn't get to be in the military because he was too short. I think it was because he was too short. He was actually a ½ inch shorter than me. Anyway, he was real skinny and all that. Had the appearance of being a really nice guy until I wasn't cooperating, which came later on, you know, because we hung out, had a good time. We were friends, you know, and all that. But when I was seeking to get out of this relationship, which was kind of like boyfriend-girlfriend thing, I ended up getting pregnant, but I wanted out. I didn't love him and all that. Anyway, that's when he turned, you know. But I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the Grand Hotel in Pigeon Forge, but since he couldn't be on the police force, they wouldn't let him be on the police force in Sevier County. So he got a position at the Grand Hotel being a security officer. Now, and I ended up marrying him to get out of home. We made an agreement that when I turned 18, we would get a divorce. And it was strictly for the safety of my son. I might take this jacket off. But it was for my son, and I actually did. It was actually God that brought it to pass, but I actually did end up us divorcing on my 18th birthday, which was wild. Because I guess I was 17 when I actually had my first son. Anyway, he was the one that arranged the lawyer and all that stuff. So I know this is not making much sense right now, but my whole point about bringing all that up is the character of some of these security officers and police officers. Just because they wear those badges does not mean that they have good character or have good intentions or anything like that. I can tell you that because he tried to run me down with his car. He tried to run me into a guardrail between me and the car. I jumped across the guardrail. But anyway, he wouldn't let me see my son unless I spent time with him. Okay? It's a long story. I don't want to get into all that, but my point is, I don't know about all law enforcement, but I do know that some of the ones that I know about actually get into it for the wrong reasons. They want to feel masculine or whatever. So these people that are working for, I'm probably going to lose a lot of people by now, but these people that are working with these government officials, they don't always have the best intentions, and they will do a bunch of things for approval and acceptance and all that. And I think that that's really going to come to a head and come into play that much more in the days ahead. I'm going to stop talking about that because I'm probably losing a lot of people. But you know what? Okay, whatever. Because there are people that are going to, like, listen. And if some people get bored and go on to something else, well, I mean, that's their prerogative. So, anyway, my whole point in saying all that is, it's up to you. It's your choice which side of things you're going to stand on. You know, if you're going to be bold and courageous and be a person of worth and character, if you're going to serve God, that's fine. If not, then you're going to be on the other side of things, and that does not lead to a good end. Okay, I just had to redo this mirror and everything. I feel like I've done a lot of rambling, but I think a lot of people catch what I'm saying. So I think there's value in what I'm saying. I do believe there's value in what I'm saying. Whether people get bored with what I'm saying or whatever, that's their prerogative. So this trailhead up ahead is Porter's Creek Trail. You can look it up on Google Maps or whatever if you'd like to, but I will be coming to do this trail pretty soon. Now I'm going to switch topics. So I have been trying to eat a wide variety of foods to try to bring my energy level back up. And I do have some spurts of energy, which I'm thankful for, and I hope that continues and continues. Which she had told me it was going to be 4 to 5 months before I'm like back to normal. So that's kind of that right now. So I can tell you guys a couple of things. Now I'm getting really hot. May have to take this sweater off. Or just roll the window down a little bit. So, okay, I called the people at UT where I donated the kidney. They told me what my hemoglobin levels were during all that pre-testing, and then all the way up until my visit last May. So my hemoglobin levels were up at 12 and above before the kidney donation, which is really good. I knew I was in good health. I try to always keep myself in good health. So after the kidney donation, it dropped down to like 10, which is normal because, you know, you just went through surgery, you had a lot of blood loss and all that. So it went back up to 11. I had like a 2-week visit, 2 more weeks, and then 6 weeks and all that post-op, right? But last year, last May specifically, and this tells me that it doesn't have to do with my diet, but, well, the fact that it was 12 and up tells me that it's not thalassemia, because if it were thalassemia, I wouldn't have been able to donate the kidney. So last May, my hemoglobin level was at 9, which is below what they want it to be. It used to be that once your hemoglobin dropped below 10, that they would give you a blood transfusion. That used to be the case. Now they don't do that. So that was last May, and then so this is February. So in this February, it's a 7, which is where they give you a blood transfusion at this point in our modern times. Oh man, that is so pretty. Yeah, y'all are gonna have to see this. I'm glad there's not much traffic, and you'll have to see it through the trees. I really wish that would show up like as good as it looks outside my window. That's pretty close right there. That's beautiful. Like when I come up here, it just feeds my spirit. It just feeds my spirit. So, yeah, so it's at 7 right now, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it every day. Like my energy will not come up. It is just continual. I just ate. And normally you're like zippity-doo, you know, you're really happy when you eat because like everything's starting to go through, you know, and Ray had suggested that, you know, I go on a hemoglobin building diet, which I actually looked that up and I already eat that stuff. So that's what I eat every day. So now the question is, why? Is there blood loss in my GI tract? Where is this coming from? So I don't know. And this past week, my blood pressure has been like a steady 100/60 something. It's been really low. So that's where I'm at with that. But today, I was determined to come up here because I just need to come up here and be alone with God. You know, I can go to church 4 days a week, 5 days a week, and I have to come be alone with God because I cannot hear from Him when there are so many other voices. So, but that's where I'm at with everything. Thomas is continuing to help me with things because like yesterday, I slept. I got up and everything, but I laid down probably about between 1 and 1:30, which I feel like I need to go lay down right now. But I laid down and I didn't get up till like 5 or 5:30. So having to do that. Naps are not normal for me. I always joke around and say that naps are for old people and babies or sick people. But I'm not old. I would classify this as a sickness. Yes, I would. But I'm definitely not a baby. So, speaking of babies, I got to hold my little feller last night. He was sleeping, and of course I went and yanked him out of the car so I could hold him while he slept. And that was nice. And so the baby is developing. Cassie, she keeps sending me pictures showing me what the baby looks like. So anyway, that's an update on me. Obviously I'm struggling right now, so I'm gonna start heading home. I'm supposed to go get Kayla and Jiraiya, but I just really feel like I could probably use a nap right now, so I don't know about that. Yeah, no hiking for me right now, guys. No hiking. Like if I try to say that on the Google text-to-speech, it says hawking. Like I'm hawking wares or something. Hiking. No hiking for me right now, guys. I'm up here in the place that I love. I've got to get better. I have to. Because I'm not going to spend this hiking season not hiking. I am going to get better. And I'm going to get better. I am going to get better. And I'm going to start putting that on all of my walls. I am going to get better. It's been rough, guys. It's been rough. There for a little bit, like the week before last, I thought I was going to have a heart attack, you know. It's going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm getting better day by day. Day by day. That's funny. I can't make that turn on that bridge. Well, I'll come do that another time. Okay, I'm going to let you guys go. I will talk to you soon. Just one more thing, guys. There are people riding around on these little rented Jeeps that have no sides. You know, they're open to the air. And they're riding around with masks on in the mountains. In the mountains, people. That's ridiculous.